And with that, we are ready. Please welcome Dragondarch as they run Legacy of the Wizard.
Hello everyone, I am Dragondarch, and this is going to be Legacy of the Wizard. Joining me on comms today, we have Starbird and Darkterix.
Hello.
Hello.
They are actually going to be handling a lot of the commentary, because this run is very precise. There's a lot of RNG manipulation. There is a lot of very technical and precise movement. So anytime that I'm doing the manipulation, I'm pretty much not going to be talking, and they're going to be explaining everything. So I'm just going to get this one controller out of the way of my feet here. I'm tripping over it. And then I'm going to go ahead and reset, and we'll get going.
No tripping on the cord, please. We kind of need you to do this run.
Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so welcome to Legacy of the Wizard. You're going to notice right off the bat that he's selecting the old man for the password and basically just canceling out of it. Terex, you want to explain what this does?
Yeah, so whenever you go and input a password, it'll set the RNG that is in the dungeon, but it'll set it to the exact same value every time. So we just go and hit the old man with no password input, and it sets exactly what we need to start these scroll manipulations. There's the first one right there.
All right, so for anyone who's ever played this game, a scroll increases your speed, and in a speed run, that's actually a good thing to have. And they actually stack up to 5 times total, and you're going to see just how fast this goes.
All right, so we're down to 2 already, so third one should be coming up very shortly here.
Yeah, the movements are very precise here, and if he makes one mistake, then it throws the entire manipulation off, and so there's 3. And you can just see how fast it goes.
Alright, so as far as the speed itself goes, when you have no scroll, you're moving at 1 pixel. When you have 1 scroll, 2 pixels, 3 pixels for the next, and it goes up to 6 pixels once you get the final one. Right now we are getting, we just got our 4th scroll, and that still only stacks up to that 3rd one. We can get a stack higher upon getting one from a chest. So it does cap it out based on what you get first. Oh, good pattern, so we should be able to get this last one here.
Got it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
that's by far the hardest one.
And just for information, scrolls last 30 seconds. If you pick up another scroll, it will reset that timer. Chest scrolls, I think you're going to see him pick up here, last a minute, if I recall correctly, and he is now to plaid. So at 6 pixels per frame, this is extremely difficult to move. See him picking up a couple keys there. So when you're under 2 keys, basically any drop from an enemy is going to be a key. So he always wants to make sure to have a good supply of keys.
Good, got the boost.
All right, so what he's doing now, he's going for the pickaxe, which will allow Lil's the only character that can use it to break blocks. And he's going to be using Lil for 3 out of the 4 dungeons.
Correct. So the game, as it wants you to play it, is you have this whole family that you're supposed to play as. Mother, father, son, and daughter. But based on some glitches, we're just going to use Lil, the daughter, because she jumps really high.
You forgot to mention Pochi, the most important character in the game.
I am so sorry. He is the most important, the monster. Pochi, the pet.
So we'll be coming up in Pochi's area next here, but you also notice he picked up 2 other items, the crystal, which when used will warp you back to the home screen, or excuse me, the overworld is what they call it. It's basically an escape from the dungeon. He also picked up the elixir, which as long as you have it selected, if you run out of health, you will automatically revive at full health.
Right.
And there will be one point where he needs to use it. Good jump there.
Good jump.
It's actually a very frame perfect unless you actually have a scroll.
Something to note, we absolutely do not want to have a scroll when we go into a boss, because when you have a scroll, it affects how fast your shots move out as well. And when we get to a boss here, as you'll see, we're just trying to mash it down as fast as we can, and There we go. First one's down already. Grantunus.
Yeah, damage is calculated on a per frame basis. So for every frame that your shot is within their hitbox, it's doing damage. So if you have the taquito, as we call them here, or scroll speed, your shots move much faster, so they don't stay in the hitbox nearly as long. So we don't like having scrolls when we're doing bosses.
Again, right here, we're going to reset the password to make sure that the randomness is set to a specific value. And that'll allow us to get more scroll manipulations right here at the beginning. We can do that for pretty much every area, but it comes to a point when you get far enough into the dungeon that it becomes near impossible to try and manipulate anything. Ooh, unfortunate.
A little late on that one. This scroll was like, I think it's like a 2-frame window or something to hit it. If I get poison, I was late. If I get money, it was early. This next section, I really need to make sure I have scroll speed going into it, because we're doing an area that we're not supposed to be doing as anybody but Pochi.
Yeah, every area of the game is built around a specific character. Pochi's area, for example, has a lot of enemies that deal a ton of damage, but his whole ability is that he doesn't take damage from monsters. So we kind of need to be able to move past everything, otherwise we'll just die very quickly.
And there's the second one. So and you're going to be seeing why Dragondarch took the elixir here. There's actually a point coming up where there is, towards the end of the dungeon, where there's going to be a monster that deals, I believe, 100 damage per shot. And at max, you're at 109 health. So it's going to one-shot him, but you'll notice that when he gets around to it anyway, that the elixir will allow him to bypass that. And there is 4, I believe.
Yep, I hit them all.
Nice.
We won't be getting one from a chest in this area, unfortunately, so this is the max speed that we'll get here.
Yeah, there's no plaid in this one anyway, but you notice when he did get the poison, he did go back to the house. If you missed the scroll manipulation, it's actually faster to go back and try again rather than try to continue on without it.
Mm-hmm.
Missed that.
And the taquito high is gone. Terex, do you want to explain pause jumping?
Yeah. So pause jumping. So basically, if you fall off of a platform or if you pause in the air and then move at least 1 frame, and then pause again, you can hold A and it'll buffer a jump out of it like you're standing on a platform. So that makes it extremely handy to get to places that we're not supposed to early on. The first chest that we got to that had a crown, the first boss, we already did Lil's area. Lil is the daughter here that we're playing as. So we're long past that area and skipped pretty much all of it.
And this is the point where you're seeing the elixir come in handy right here. Doing that will knock the mimic down to the ground, and you can just go right in, grab the crown, and you're good to go.
That jump is kind of nerve-wracking because if you miss that jump, you fall on the chest and die, and there's just no way to recover.
Yeah, and that would be very unfortunate. So here we have Erebone here, and this is another fairly simple fight. Just kind of get in his hitbox and mash away.
Now, the bosses do get progressively harder, and I think, Starbird, you know a little more than I do as to like what the quote-unquote correct order is to do them.
Yeah, I mean, casually there's a recommended order, but there's never any, there's actually never any recommended order, although the next boss, casually, I've always known to take the mother into, and the final boss, or excuse me, the final crown boss, I should say, you would take the father in because he had the highest damage, but other than that, you're going to see that you could pretty much take anyone into anywhere. Like he hit the first scroll manipulation perfectly. So the item that you saw him pick up, he actually picked it up in Pochi's area. It's called the Power Knuckle. And Terex, do you want to explain what that does?
It doubles your damage, but it also, at the same time, doubles how much magic you use, so you have to be careful using it.
It gives actually a 4 multiplier, if I recall. On,
oh, is it 4?
Yeah, I believe on the damaging one, but it does take double magic to use, so it is something. It's very good for bosses and for clearing out weaker mobs. And now we are at Plaid again.
Yeah. This time we're
This
headed into
is ludicrous
Zem's
speed.
area, the father. Picked up a couple items
Yeah.
along the way. We got the magic key for the mother and the crossbow also for the mother, which is her block moving item. A lot of characters have an item to either destroy or move blocks around in a specific manner for them to advance in their specific area.
And I'm going to point out Dragondarch is making this look very easy with his movements. This is
Yes.
incredibly difficult to
Yeah, he's hitting some
maneuver.
really hard jumps there.
Basically, as Terex mentioned earlier, it's 6 pixels per frame that you're moving, and that's basically equivalent to, I believe, a little around 22 blocks per second. And each block is 16 by 16, so you could literally cross an entire screen in 3 seconds. It's that fast, and you can see why it's very important to hit these manipulations.
Sweet, we got cat boost.
Nice.
So the father's area was intended for you to use with the power glove, but thankfully with the advent of discovering pause jumping many years ago, we can just chain a couple like this and get Lil up here. The power glove is the father's block moving item. It does not consume magic like the other block items, but it's extremely touchy as far as how it works. And, the pickaxe just works a whole lot better because you just get rid of it.
Right.
Picking up another chest scroll here.
This one's unfortunate. It's in a kind of a bad place for scrolls. We're not going to get a lot of use out of this one. That's why I don't really worry about getting manipulation this far.
We're going to pick up a magic potion that we picked up a little while ago in this area, and that's going to be needed, absolutely needed here in a few moments, because in this upcoming spot, we're going to be destroying a lot of blocks. By a lot of blocks, I mean we're going to be here for like a minute or two, so get comfy, and this would honestly be a good time for donations.
Excellent. There is a $25 donation from Jess25 who says, I used to play Legacy of the Wizard with my mom. She made a complete map of the game on poster board to help us get through it. This brings back so many memories.
That's
There's
awesome.
also, oh, sorry, go.
I was gonna say that's just awesome. Someone actually did that. A lot of the game is a big labyrinth, so making a big map like that is a good way to tackle it.
This is actually probably my favorite NES game of all time, to be honest, and I have a lot of fond memories of it. Playing it with my father and uncle and watching them struggle with it, and because they didn't know how to use the glove, and me at 4 years old for some reason showed them how to do it. Not to toot my own horn, but it's a lot of fond memories with this game. It's very underrated, I think, on the NES library, and it's probably because it's quite complicated at parts, but other than that, I love this game, especially the soundtrack. Can we give a shout out to, who's that composer? What's his name again, Terex?
Oh, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I was setting you up. I perfectly said, lucky Taquito. The composer here is Yuzo Koshiro. Many of you may know him for the Streets of Rage, ActRaiser. He's one of the absolute best composers of all time. And
Okay, we'll have to take the some little.
This is a tricky situation.
I need to use the inn is the problem, and I don't have enough magic to kill enemies. Okay, maybe I can get one here.
So when you're
Okay.
under 30 magic, the game prioritizes magic. Oh, that's a good cross to help with that, hopefully.
Cross and all poison. That's good.
Well-
I need an enemy to spawn and give me money so I can stay at the inn. This is okay. Give me. That's a cross again. Okay, I'm gonna get magic on the next one. This is so marathon luck. This has never happened before.
we said it. There we go. There's the magic words that we love to hear in every marathon.
There we go. Got some.
So a
good.
bag of money gives you 2 gold, which is definitely not enough. It's like it's as big as the character itself. You would think at least have 50. I mean, the chest ones do, but you need 10 gold to stay in, and unfortunately, his life and magic were a little low to take on the boss. So that's why he kind of had to farm for it a little bit. It's quite devastating for time if you have to farm for it, though.
That usually I have enough money when I reach that point. It's just this time they were just not being cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not the place I wanted to see that.
So yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
actually really close to the boss. The scroll was not an ideal drop. He's picking up the elixir here. He doesn't necessarily need it, but it's a good safety for the final crown boss. And so he's kind of just waiting.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and let the scroll kind of wear out a little bit. The enemies won't move from this position, so I won't take any damage, but I don't want the scroll going into the fight. And I'll know when it wears off because, okay, there we go. So my shots will start taking less, or will start moving slower.
Yeah, and this boss in particular is one you definitely don't want to go into a scroll with, because if you do go in with a scroll, Archwinger's movement changes. And you're going to see right here, there's a ledge that Archwinger's going to bonk on as he comes up here, and then he's going to just turn around. Dragondarch uses magic to deflect his magic, and as soon as Archwinger turns around, twitches the power knuckle and just destroys it. If you go in with the scroll, Archwinger will go under that ledge and chase you, and then you're dead.
Yeah, Archwinger does 20 damage per shot, 30 damage if he touches you. So going in with only 40 or 50 health is really dangerous. I mean, I went in with about 80 and it came out, I got really lucky, I came out with about 50, so.
Yeah, and that you didn't run out of magic as well, because he fires a lot of shots at you very rapidly, so oftentimes he'll just eat all of your shots as you're trying to deal damage to him, and then you're out of magic.
So that was the last time we're actually going to see Lil. She did quite a good job, I would say. Now we got Mena, the mother. And here Dragondarch's going to set up the manipulations again. Different set.
I was early on that one.
Ooh.
That's fine. I got scroll speed to get back to the house with. This one, it's like, I can go 3 times before... If I get it the 3rd time, I'll break even. But if I don't get it on the 3rd one, I'll just keep going and eat the time loss.
One nice thing about this particular manipulation is that you use it 3 times with 3 different characters, so it's not character-based in any way. You can use the same manipulation. It's all based on positioning and having that reset on the password.
Okay, I shot a little bit late. And by a little bit late, I mean I was probably a frame off.
Yeah, that's how tight some of these manipulations are. One thing to note, though, is that even if you hang up in the overworld a little bit, the RNG only progresses when you're in the dungeon. So you could spend all day in the overworld. Not that you want to, but you can, and the RNG won't progress.
I find this particular scroll easier to get with Lil without the power knuckle, honestly.
Yeah, Mena's got has twice as much power as Lil does at the cost of jump ability. But the first item you see in the inventory are the wings. And Tarek, you want to explain that one?
Yeah, so at the cost of magic, you can essentially fly. It just ticks down automatically. So you want to make sure that you're not constantly using it, otherwise you'll just be out of magic. But it is handy to have and required to have. It is actually the reason why we don't use Lil for all 4 areas. If we get one more manipulation here.
Got it.
Awesome. That one is extremely difficult to get. But yeah, later on in this area, there will be 1 tile high gaps that you have to go through that are that have spikes on the bottom of them, and all characters, when you're on spikes, you bounce. When you have the wings, that doesn't happen. You just float across them, and Mena is the only character that can actually equip the wings, so she's the only one that can actually progress through this area.
Yeah, the other weapons she has, the crossbow, as you may have seen him already use, when you actually use it, the block goes flying, and it will ricochet off any solid object and bounce back. It mows over every enemy that you come in contact with. It's actually a very fun item to use, even though it's kind of annoying at times because you can only have one block going at once. And you can't open doors while the block's moving too, which is a little annoying, but it's still really cool just to see that thing shoot forward and back and just destroy everything in its path.
Including yourself.
Yes, it does. If it does hit you, it does take a point of damage, but it's like, 1 point. It's like, yeah, easy. And the last item on the list is the magic key, which basically will open any door. Instead of using a key, it will take 1 magic point away from you.
Also, another reason why we use Mena, because she's the only one that can use the magic key, and this area has a lot of doors.
I mean, it is possible to beat this dungeon without the magic key, but you're going to be farming for keys for a while.
Right.
And I mean, if you're under 2 keys, then you're pretty much guaranteed to get them. But you have to wait for enemies to spawn. You just spend the money and get the key, basically.
Alright, good. I'm set on gold for the rest of the run.
Good. Yeah, gold management's a little bit tricky, depending on what drops you get throughout the run.
The manipulation actually helps with that a bunch, because we're not just getting scrolls out of it, we're also getting a bunch of money to supplement what we have. But everything else is basically random.
And Shadow's the best song in the game, by the way.
Pretty good. Every song in this game is so good.
It is, and it's although it's sad though, and I make mention of this almost every time, is that the MSX2 version of this game, of Dragon Slayer 4, actually has different boss tracks instead of the same one that you get in this game. And the Archbringer and Rock Gaia ones are both really good, and I wish that they would have been on the NES version, but you take what you get. And the MSX2 version also, Pochi's dungeon and Mena's dungeon are a little different. Actually, Pochi's is completely different. Mena's is basically the same thing, but it's got extra notes and measures to it, so it's actually, I think, a lot better. Random facts for the day. The more you know.
Now, as far as what's coming up, there's actually not going to be a whole lot to explain for the moment. Mostly it's just going to be progressing through Mena's area, so this would also be a pretty good time to get donations in.
Can do. There is a $15 donation from Durand who says, there will be Mena, fake platforms, and Zemn, enemies. Might be a little difficult to beat, but it won't be too much of a dressel. I hope there won't be any poison mushrooms, but you've certainly seen Warzone that. Good luck on the run, Dragondarch. Can't wait to see you take down this game I never could when I was a kid.
That's it, to the pungeon with him.
We have a $25 donation from McSwervy who says, I love learning about games I've never heard of almost as much as watching people play them. Good luck on the run, Dragondarch.
Yeah, so we're coming up on the part of the dungeon. This is actually the longest dungeon, I believe, to go through. So you can see a bunch of doors up there. That chest up there actually leads to Spring Shoe. So casually, that's where you would get it. But there's some enemies, invisible enemies, might I add, that kind of block your path and do like 30 to 40 damage per shot. So.
And you can't damage them until you touch them at least once.
Yeah, that's unfair, I think. But yeah, they had to make the game long, right? This was 1986, I think. 88 maybe at the latest?
I think 88 in the US.
Sounds about right. I seem to remember my father picking up this game when I was young.
Yeah, based on one of those donations, I actually wanted to make one quick comment on it. On the puns, they actually mentioned 2 names, Drassel and Warzone. So the family has 2 last names. I don't know why they changed it from one spot to another, but in one version it'll be Drassel family, and the other it's Warzone. In the credits here you'll see Warzone.
It's a play on Dragon Slayer, is what I remember. For Drassel, anyway. So you stay at the end to get his health and magic back up. He doesn't have the wings anymore, so he had to pause jump out of there. He doesn't need the crossbow anymore, so the elixir for safety and the power knuckle because, damage.
Yeah, I would actually keep, in a record attempt, I would actually keep the wings and not have the elixir at all, but ties go to the boss, and they can kill you after you kill them.
Yes.
Yeah, and having to redo this dungeon is a huge time loss, so safety. So we're coming up on... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Rock Guy, I was about to explain. Rock Guy it has very slow shots, so usually it's pretty manageable, but he will also kill you in 2 hits, so you do have to be careful.
You can see there. It's a good thing he had that elixir there, so... yeah, Rock Gaia is... Ooh, scary.
Okay.
And there we go.
Ultra mega backup strats. Usually I took an extra hit before the fight even started, which I usually don't. So I just stayed on the elixir instead of going over to the power knuckle. And I figured I was going to take another hit, which I called it. And
you were right.
Was able to finish it after that.
Yeah, if he had died there, it'd have been something like a 12-minute loss.
Yeah, it's like, I think with the manipulations and everything, it's like 6 or 7 or 8 minutes, somewhere in that range. It's by far the longest loss.
Yeah. So now we're going to play as Roas. Roas actually can use the crowns. He's the sun. He doesn't have his own area. He's the only one that can use the crowns to get the Dragon Slayer sword itself and to defeat the final boss, Kila the dragon.
You may have noticed these portraits kind of around. They look like a picture of a princess, which basically is the case. Roas is the only one that can activate them, and he has to have all 4 crowns, at least in this version of the game, in order to activate them. Basically, the developers intended you to, kind of portrait hop and find your way to the Dragon Slayer, which is the sword that you need in order to activate the final boss of the game.
Uncooperative enemies.
But thankfully to pause jumping, we actually know where the one portrait is that we need to go to and can just go there.
No cooperative lion today. That one's not friendly.
No friendly lion. Feels sad, man.
Yeah, the lion can jump up and give you an extra boost so you don't have to do as many pause jumps for it, but oh well.
Such is Legacy of the Wizard. And you can see the portrait right to the left, right there, and you have to equip the crown in order to, and push up while you're under it in order to use it, and it'll be right there. So, the intended way, you have to take another portrait, and that portrait takes you to Pochi's area. So, we're like, no thank you, we're just gonna crystal out and go back to the house.
Yeah, it's just really convenient that one crystal just happens to be on the way. And we just use it to get back from that, because it takes a long time to walk back from Pochi's area.
And not to mention, because it's Pochi's area, it's extremely dangerous. Because it puts you, like, almost towards the end of his dungeon.
Oh yeah, it puts you super deep.
So he went back to... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, you go ahead, you start explaining.
All right, yeah, he went back, in a PB attempt, he would most likely probably just go for it from there, but he has said it actually saves, it doesn't matter really at that point. But when you go back to the house, you actually kind of make a save point.
Time's going to be very soon, by the way.
Yes.
Yep.
So he gets right between the dragon and the breath, and basically just mashes, and hopes for the best at that point. So the dragon's really low right now. And if you are actually within the dragon's hitbox as he's collapsing, you take full damage, die, and we know ties go to the boss here.
Whew. Well, that was a run.
It was a run.
That was a run indeed.
That was a run with things that have not happened to me before, so improv strats, hey.
Can we just blame Draken for that one?
I blame Pochi being on the roof.
Well, he didn't have much other use other than being a weather vane here, so.
I don't know how he got on the roof, though.
You can't
Jump,
jump that high.
jump shoes that you never
Yeah, I was
picked
gonna
up.
say.
Like I said, he equipped the jump shoes. That's what it was. Even weak.
Okay, well, that was interesting. That was definitely an interesting. Not quite what I was expecting out of it, but felt pretty good overall. I was hitting the manips relatively decently, outside of a couple situations. That was Legacy of the Wizard. Really want to give shout outs to Starbird and Terex for coming in to do comms today, because this is a game that I cannot comm myself that well. Like, it takes way too much focus for me to be able to explain everything accurately and to actually be able to play it at the same time. So I really appreciate you two coming in and doing that for me.
Yeah, no problem. Good being here.
No problem, Bob. No problem.
And with that, I'm going to pass it off to the next game. I believe we have Power Blade next, so stick around for that.
Thank you, Dragondarch, for finally slaying what was apparently the bane of many a child's existence back in the NES days. We have a $10 donation here from Burke saying, here's to upgrading the expert mode for Power Blade, which the incentive was in fact met. So you can all look forward to shortly seeing NeoCAD play Power Blade on expert difficulty. And with that, I am at the end of my shift. Thank you all very much. I leave you in the capable hands of your next host, Skybills.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2020. I'm Skybills. I'm going to be the host for the end of this Nest Block segment. It's so wonderful to see all y'all. And with that, here are some donations. We have a $1,500 donation from the Joe Craft. It says, greetings from Germany. Keep up the good work and thank you for this awesome event. Hype! We have $25 from Matt the Rogue, who says, here's to the real hero of Games Done Quick, the amazing music between the runs and interviews. Any chance that playlist is available? I believe if you want to see parts of the playlist, the song should be available in the bottom part of the screen, so if you take careful notes and you like a song, be sure to take note of that. Maverick donates $15 saying, for years I've been trying to remember this game I played as a kid that I really liked, that was an action platformer with shops and inns and magics and many locked doors. Thanks to your run, Dragondarch, I finally remembered this game and I have such fond memories of that. That is Legacy of the Wizard. Thank you for reintroducing this game to me. We have $25 from Jonathan, who says, taking a quick break from work to donate and wish Dragondarch a speedy win against a game I never finished. All right, and with that, I'm going to send you all on over to the interview.
Hello everyone, I am here with Fruit Bat Salad, who's going to be running Kid Icarus about 30 minutes from now, right after Power Blade. So welcome Fruit Bat Salad, thank you for joining us here.
Hey Feasel, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Doing great. So you're going to be running the any percent category of Kid Icarus, which is going to include some major skips. So as just sort of a preview of things to come, what major skips are we going to see in this run?
Yeah, so I would say that overall Kid Icarus is a pretty linear game. I mean, it's a platformer. Most of the stages are linear. But the game has these fortress levels, basically stage 1-4, 2-4, and 3-4. And they're laid out like a maze, basically one screen at a time. I kind of compare them to like the dungeons in Zelda 1, where it's like a maze and you have to find your way through to the boss. And all three of those fortress levels have some pretty major sequence breaks we do. There's basically some wall clips. You clip through a wall, and you break the rules of the maze, and basically get through to the boss quicker. Especially in 3-4, you're going to see a really big sequence break where we completely warp out of the level.
So a number of people have worked on this game, have worked on getting the route to where it is. So where did these major skips that we're going to be seeing originate?
A lot of it was found, I would say, between 2013 and 2015. A lot of it was found by Jorf, and the really big one was found in 2015 by Bad Breaks. That's the warp out of stage 3-4. And a lot of the routing was also kind of improved by Darkwing Duck. So a lot of the stuff happened kind of before I came to the game, because I started speedrunning it in around 2017. But that's kind of the history of it.
Yeah, so you came onto the scene after some of the major routing changes had happened, but there have been a number of smaller improvements to the run, smaller in terms of the amount of time saved, but quite a lot of that. So can you tell us a little bit about how the run has evolved since you began working on it?
Yeah, so basically it's a lot of little things, like you said. I was mentioning these wall clips that we use as sequence breaks. There are also some other wall clips that I started doing in runs that were known about, but I don't think anybody was really going for them in runs. Basically, there were some wall clips that the TAS was doing, and the reason that people weren't really going for them is because some of them only save like 2 seconds, and it didn't really seem worth the risk. But, trying to push the game as low as we can go, so I started going for more and more of those sort of things, and found like a little bit of a routing improvement for stage 3-3. Darkwing Duck, and actually a combination of Darkwing Duck and TMR recently found a new setup for the final boss fight. So, there's a few seconds here, a few seconds there, and it kind of adds up.
So let's talk a little bit about adapting strats from the TAS. I mean, a lot of times people look at TAS strats and they say, all right, well, that's, not something that a human can do. But then I guess a game gets to the point where you think, all right, well, if I'm going to save more time and, compete for the world record, the time's going to have to come from somewhere. And so you kind of gradually lower your threshold for, what you'll, allow yourself to attempt. So how do you, when you're looking at a TAS, how do you determine what's reasonable to do? I mean, do you think that you've gotten most of the TAS strats incorporated into a human route, or where are you with that?
Well, it's hard to say, because on the one hand, I feel like we've implemented most of the strategies that are going to be in the run, but it's hard to say, because if you had asked me a year ago, I probably would have told you that I wouldn't have thought that the game can go as low as it is now, because current, I don't know, it's down to a low 21, and I didn't think it was even going to go that low. So who knows what kind of ridiculous stuff we're going to add over the next couple of years. One thing that the TAS is always going to have a huge advantage on is the boss fights. The boss fights in this game, especially the first and second boss, we have basically a rapid fire trick that we do, where it's similar to Ninja Gaiden if you kind of shoot and duck alternating. So kind of, shoot, duck, shoot, duck, shoot, duck. The ducking cancels the cooldown timer for your shots, so you're able to get your shots out faster. Well, the TAS can do that, 60 times per second. Shoot, duck, shoot, duck, so 30 shots in a second. And humans are never going to be able to replicate that. So we're never really going to meet that TAS level of gameplay. But, we can try to borrow things from the TAS as much as possible.
All right, well, one last question real quick here. I know you've also put a lot of time into Super Metroid, and a lot of people know you from the various categories of that you run. Would you say that Super Metroid is your main game, or do you think this is your main game, if that can be said about any game?
See, I like that question, because Super Metroid used to be my main game for sure, and I actually started Kid Icarus as a little side project, just as a side thing to take a break from Super Metroid. And gradually, Kid Icarus became less and less of a side project for me and more of a main game, until the two were about equal. And it was just recently, within the past month, that my number of completed Kid Icarus runs has overtaken my number of completed Super Metroid runs. So I think I just officially became a Kid Icarus speedrunner. And Super Metroid is kind of veering into becoming my side project. So
See, that's impressive. Anytime I hear that somebody's put more effort into a game than they have into Super Metroid, then I know there must be a lot to this game. So,
well, but to be fair, I don't think I'll ever be finished with Super Metroid because it's impossible to ever be finished with that game. So I'll keep bouncing back and forth between the two and see what I can do with both of them.
well, great. Thank you very much, Fruit Bat Salad, for chatting with me, and best of luck with the run.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, well, everyone can catch the Kid Icarus run coming up in about 30 minutes. For now, stay tuned for Power Blade being run by NeoCAD.
Well, thank you very much for that interview, Fruit Bat Salad and Feasel. Very much looking forward to the Kid Icarus run. We have $10 from Edward Mollis that says, love keeping SGDQ on the second monitor while I work. Keep up the great runs and entertaining commentary. We have a $50 donation that reads, this event has been amazing so far, despite the limitations forced on us by this pandemic. Thanks to the runners, staff, and organizers for a week of hard work for a good cause. Donation goes to Ori as a bonus game. Shout out to the Wayward Point Discord group. And speaking of incentives really quickly, we do have a couple coming up here. I believe the next one after this, we have met the Power Blade incentive, by the way, so thank you again to everyone who donated towards that. We have the Witcher 3 coming up next. So currently, Save Siri is winning with $3,624 in that bid war to save the frames, which is $415. Y'all, those frames need to be saved, all right? Just saying, you may want to donate towards that. Let's give Save Siri a run for their money, quite literally. We also have the Visit the Cat Castle incentive coming up as well. Currently $538 out of $3,000. So if you would like to see the Cat Castle, please get those donations in. We have $15 from Spark Ethos that says, loving the 100% virtual GDQ. Sad not to hear the constant heights, but so happy we are all still here and helping Doctors Without Borders. We have $50 from Tomato Princess who says, love watching while I work, keep up the good work. We have $50 from Henniger who says, I haven't played the Talos Principle in a while, so I have no idea what cat ending means, but I like cats, so cat ending. We have $15 from Ariana Girl Plays who says, been watching since 2013, haven't seen this game before. I played Power Blade when I was a little girl, and I never beat it because I was bad at jumping when I was a kid. Ready to see it destroyed. Cyrax donates $15 saying, hello. Well, hello to you too. Tim and Paul donate $25 saying, really enjoying the Nest block of SGDQ 2020. Thanks to all the runners and to everyone for keeping this great event going. Syad donates $5 saying, long-time Brazilian fan here. GDQs are my favorite part of the year. Let's help make it happen. We have an anonymous donation of $250. No comment, but thank you very much for your donation. $10 from AmberMab. Work on one monitor, GDQ on the other. This is how I multitask. Let's all not forget what this is all about, helping people. Best luck to all. $5 from Ultra, who says, came home from work, GDQ on my TV. It's snowing on Mount Fuji. This is not a haiku. I appreciate that one. We have $200 from Ruffles the Werewolf, who says, getting to watch SGDQ from the comfort of my gaming chair while it's working from home is exactly what I needed to take my mind off this global pandemic. Shoutouts to the organizers who set this marathon up with the tech behind the scenes, working behind the clock to keep it running, and especially the runners taking time out of their daily schedules, keeping us entertained. We need hardworking and dedicated people like yourselves in this nightmare we're living in. Stay safe, everyone. We have $15 from Talitha, who says, love watching GDQ every year. Seeing the gaming community come together to support the amazing causes every year makes me happy to be part of this community. Good luck to all the runners. Let's beat the Ori and the Blind Forest game incentive. And can we break last year's SGDQ record? Heck yeah. If this gets read out, I will double my donation. We have $30 from Dakana, who says, SGDQ is off to an amazing start. Hi to Varg and Zev that I'm watching with. We have $100 from Justin, who says, loving this Nintendo vlog. Thank you for everything you do. So a little bit about the charity that this event is for is Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders is an international medical humanitarian aid organization that works in over 70 countries around the world, providing life-saving medical humanitarian care and speaking out about what they see in those areas. Their work aids people based solely on need, irrespective of race, religion, gender, or political affiliation. MSF is committed to safeguarding their patients' right to autonomy, confidentiality, and informed consent. 90% of their staff is national, meaning that they live locally and are from the country that they work in. MSF relies mainly on the generosity of individual donors, with over 90% of MSF's income coming from private donors giving small amounts. We have a $25 donation that says, thanks for all your hard work, staff and runners. You're making the absolute best of a tough year, and we all appreciate it. We have a $100 donation from Jake Man, who says, excited for Talos Principle today. Let's get that cat ending. $10 from Ralphorus, who says, happy to see GDQ still going strong in these hard times. First donation for the day, take us to Cat Castle. $25 from Muscle Puppy, who says, I'm especially thankful for my 2-monitor home office setup this week, because now I can work and keep an eye out on the best event of the summer. So proud of everyone involved who worked to keep SGDQ alive in the midst of these unprecedented times. $25 from Bear Cave, who says, thanks to the runners and to the organizers of this wonderful event. All right, so I'm going to challenge everybody out there. If you want to put some money towards the Cat Castle incentive or to save the frames in Witcher, a lot of people like to send puns. I will read your puns if we want to start working towards the Cat Castle incentive, and if we want to close the gap a little bit on that Save the Frames incentive for Witcher. So just something to think about. People usually like to send puns. I'm willing to do that. Put that challenge out there. And I'm sure with, especially, we have Zelda 2 coming up. There's never a shortage of Zelda puns out there. So just putting that challenge out there for y'all. We have a $250 donation from Crabapple. No comment, but thank you very much for your donation. We have a $100 donation from Zifnab. No comment, but thank you very much for your donation. $20 from Quasimodo, the first of many. Always happy to see SGDQ and love a good nest block. So much to look forward to this week. $15 donation. He says, hey all, I had no choice but to donate for White Hat's run of Micro Mages. Everything Morphcat Games touches is absolute gold, and I keep wanting more of it. Shout outs to Julius and Nicholas for the fun and inspiration, and to White Hat for being an all-around great guy. Good luck on the run. I very much appreciated the couch that White Hat brought to the run. Couldn't have a GDQ without a couch, so was very excited to see that. We Feel Groove donates $15 saying donating for cats. Evan donates $250 saying AGDQ is my favorite time of year. Love y'all and all you do. May the RNG be on your side. Plenty of RNG and NES games to go around and still to come between Power Blade, Kid Icarus, and Zelda 2. So we'll definitely need some luck towards RNG there. Thank you. We have a $100 donation from Freckles. No comment, but thank you very much for your donation. We have $15 from Darklight, who says, I may not have a Prime sub, but sign me up for that Banjo and Kazooie plushie. We have $10 from Steadiest Rhyme. No comment, but thank you very much for your donation. $25 from Anonymous. Glad to see that the technical issues have been resolved and that chicken of the farm is Bach. Okay, all right, so that's the start of the puns. I know this isn't going to end here, is it? We have $25 from Glitchcat, who says, so happy to have GDQ on again. Missing hanging out IRL with everyone, but the work we're doing here will have those wonderful, great times come back. Great Micro Mages run earlier. Great donation reading, Sky. Please help us get to Cat Castle. Agreed. Also, thank you, Glitchcat. We have $100 from Anonymous who says, I know we're supporting MSF, but this is a speedrun marathon. Save the frames. Absolutely. And again, that's referring to that Witcher incentive here. Let me see if I can provide a little bit of an update. Looks like people have been donating towards those causes. So again, this is Series Fate for Witcher 3 Wild Hunt right now, $3,684 for Save Suri, and for Save the Frames, we have $515. So again, let's get those frames saved. Let's close the gap a little bit. Gotta go fast, right? And for Visit the Cat Castle, we're getting a little closer to that Cat Castle. We have $673 out of $3,000. So keep the good work coming in on that. Before you know it, we'll be at the Cat Castle. I have faith. $50 from Anonymous. More frames with Suri on screen is actually a win-win. Agreed. But again, I want to see that bid war get close. So y'all know what to do there. Blast donates $250. No comment, but thank you very much for your donation. Between Myself donates $20 saying, please send more haikus, limericks accepted too. Villanelles, too long. Oh my goodness. All three of those seem like those could get pretty overwhelming. Especially haikus. Haikus are kind of read differently, so that's something I guess we can all poke fun at is haiku donation reading's kind of different, that's for sure. Appreciate that donation. Definitely a lot to think about there. All right, it looks like there is a slight change in the schedule. It looks like we are going to be having Kid Icarus next and then Power Blade. So we're still going to have the same nest block. We're just going to flip 2 games and we'll have our Kid Icarus first, just so everyone is aware. We have $25 from Purple who says, first time donor, greetings from Bavaria, been watching Games Done Quick for ages and I love it. Put my money towards the Valley Incentive, a game I myself have run. It is a hidden gem, so go out there and try it. Well, I like this excitement for Kid Icarus in chat, folks. I like it. We have a $10 donation that says a GDQ haiku in traditional 5-7-5 syllable styling. Goose guards orb fiercely, wings spread with loud screeching. All hear scary honk. I assume that relates to the Goose game, but again, these haikus, I hope I'm reading them right, but if I'm not, we can all have a good laugh about it. Thank you very much for your donation. We are in a haiku mood today, apparently. Salmar donates $5. Thank you very much for your donation. We have a $100 donation from Miria who says, here are 100 meows towards the cat ending of Talos Principle. Good luck to Enchantress endeavors on her Zelda 2 reverse boss run. shoutouts to Eon. I am very much looking forward to the Zelda 2 run. I mean, they're all good runs, but I'm very much looking forward to the Zelda 2 run. Thank you for